This is Insight 360 News Update from around the world. The headlines. Flood claims 300 lives in Afghanistan. U.S. assesses Israel's next Rafah attack. Baltimore bridge blown up. Cow dung's key role in India's energy industry. One of Europe's people's smuggler arrested. U.S. promises Ukraine military aid. Now the news in detail. Devastating flash floods have wreaked havoc in northern Afghanistan, claiming the lives of at least 300 people and leaving thousands stranded. According to the latest reports from the World Food Programme, provinces such as Badakhshan, Ghor Baghlan, and Herat have borne the brunt of the flooding, with widespread damage to homes and infrastructure. The International Rescue Committee has sprung into action, mobilizing emergency response efforts across 7 provinces to provide assistance to those affected by the disaster. Salma Ben Isa, IRC's Afghanistan director, described the situation as a major humanitarian emergency, emphasizing the urgent need for support. Save the Children has reported that more than half of the 600,000 individuals affected by the floods are children. In response, the organization is deploying mobile health and child protection teams to provide vital support to affected families. Heart-wrenching scenes of mourning and devastation have emerged from Baghlan province, where residents have been burying their loved ones and attempting to clean up the aftermath of the floods. The Taliban, in a statement, acknowledged the severity of the situation and pledged to mobilize resources for rescue and relief efforts. Flash flooding has been an ongoing challenge in Afghanistan, exacerbated by recent months' series of natural disasters, including unseasonal rainfall, floods, and earthquakes. The toll on human lives and livelihoods underscores the urgent need for coordinated response and support for affected communities. Our thoughts are with the people of Afghanistan during this difficult time, and we stand in solidarity with them as they navigate the aftermath of this devastating disaster. As we continue to monitor the situation in Afghanistan, we urge viewers to stay informed and support relief efforts however they can. We'll be providing updates on this developing story as more information becomes available. Controlled demolition of a collapsed bridge in Baltimore, paving the way for the full resumption of shipping through one of the busiest sea routes in the United States. On March 26th, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after being struck by a cargo ship, the Dolly, resulting in the tragic deaths of 6 construction workers. On Monday, a controlled demolition successfully broke apart the collapsed sections of the bridge, clearing significant debris from the Patapsco River. Rear Admiral Shannon Gilreath, U.S. Coast Guard, said, "After we do the precision cutting, we will then go back and resurvey the channel as well as survey around the Dolly to make sure there are no obstructions that come from that precision cutting that would interfere with traffic. Then we will reopen the limited access channel to traffic at that particular time." The demolition had been delayed over the weekend due to bad weather but proceeded as planned on Monday. The loud explosion at around 5 p.m. Eastern Time sent pieces of the bridge into the water, facilitating the eventual movement of the Dolly back to the port of Baltimore. The 948-foot ship, which lost power and veered off course, has been stationary since the incident, entangled in approximately 4,000 tons of debris. The 21 crew members, mostly from India, sheltered aboard the vessel during the controlled explosion. Authorities recovered the body of the 6th and final victim last week, allowing the demolition to proceed. The goal now is to move the ship within the next 2 days and ensure the channel is clear for resumed traffic. U.S. Coast Guard Rear Admiral Shannon Gilreath, "We aim to reopen the limited access channel to traffic once we ensure no obstructions remain that could interfere with navigation." The Port of Baltimore, vital for various goods and the busiest port in the country for car shipments, has faced significant disruptions. While some shipping has resumed through temporary channels, full capacity is expected to be restored by the end of May, according to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg highlighted the impact of the channel's closure on supply chains, emphasizing the urgency of reopening the route. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating the collapse. In the meantime, the city of Baltimore has filed a lawsuit against the ship's owners, Grace Ocean Private Limited, and its manager, Synergy Marine Private Limited, alleging gross negligence and recklessness. The companies are seeking to limit their liability for the incident. Maryland state authorities estimate that rebuilding the Francis Scott Key Bridge will cost up to $1.9 billion and take over 4 years to complete. We will continue to follow this story closely and provide updates as they become available. For now, this marks a significant step toward restoring one of the nation's critical maritime routes. In a major breakthrough, one of Europe's most notorious people smugglers has been apprehended in Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdish region. British security officials have confirmed the detention of Barzan Majid, known infamously as the Scorpion. Majid was apprehended on Monday in the Sulaymaniyah area by Kurdish regional security forces following a request from Interpol. This arrest marks a significant step in international efforts to combat human trafficking. Majid, who previously resided in Nottingham, was wanted by the UK's National Crime Agency. He had been convicted in absentia in Belgium in 2022 for human trafficking crimes, following a collaborative investigation between the UK and Belgian authorities. National Crime Agency spokesperson Barzan Majid attempted to smuggle approximately 100 migrants to the UK using small boats and trucks. The number of migrants attempting to cross the channel in small boats has surged in recent years. In response, the UK government has introduced the controversial Rwanda policy, aiming to reduce the influx of small boats arriving on British shores. Many of these migrants originate from Iraq's northern Kurdish region. Despite being relatively more prosperous and stable than other parts of Iraq, rising unemployment and corruption are pushing many young Kurds to embark on perilous journeys in search of better opportunities. Majid's capture highlights the ongoing issue of human trafficking and the collaborative international efforts required to tackle it. Authorities are hopeful this arrest will lead to further breakthroughs in dismantling trafficking networks. This is a developing story, and we will bring you more updates as they become available. In a positive note, we explore an innovative approach to energy production in rural India. Every day, Rukmini Baburao Kumbhar collects around 50 kilograms of fresh cow dung at a small ashram in Maharashtra. The dung is not just waste, but a valuable resource for producing biomethane. At the ashram, cow dung is mixed with water and placed in a bioreactor, producing enough methane to fuel their kitchen. This system, installed in March, has replaced the need for purchasing 20 liters of natural gas each month. Ms. Kumbhar explains the motivation behind this initiative. Rukmini Baburao Kumbhar says fuel has become extremely expensive. Biogas was a good option. The only requirement was space and cows. We had both. While handling cow dung may seem unpleasant to some, it's a common practice in rural India where agriculture dominates. Some visitors to the ashram initially resist but eventually adapt and even participate in the process. Rukmini Baburao Kumbhar says some women from the city are repulsed by the smell or touching the cow dung, but they get used to it and start helping. The cows are of good quality, so the cow dung does not smell. India produces around 3 million tonnes of cow dung daily. The government aims to convert more of this and other agricultural waste into methane through biogas plants using anaerobic digestion. This process not only produces fuel but also reduces the country's reliance on natural gas imports. To boost the biogas industry, the Indian government has mandated gas suppliers to blend natural gas with 1% biomethane by 2025, increasing to 5% by 2028. This move is expected to cut air pollution and provide a sustainable source of energy. In Punjab, Asia's largest compressed biogas plant in Lairagaga can turn 300 tonnes of paddy straw into 33 tonnes of biogas daily. However, it currently produces only 8 tonnes due to low demand, partly because of its remote location. In Ludhiana, where cow dung disposal has caused severe pollution, a biogas reactor at the Highbole Dairy Complex processes 225 tonnes of dung daily. Plans are underway to more than double its capacity. Rajiv Kumar from the Highbole Dairy Complex says initially, farmers were skeptical about selling cow dung. Now, it's a source of income for them and helps reduce pollution. Baljit Singh, a farmer from Punjab, saw an opportunity in biogas production. He collects agricultural residue from 10 villages, turning it into a profitable business. Baljit Singh Aslo stated convincing farmers to sell me their husk was challenging, but now it's a sizable business. We ensure the residues are dry and free of contaminants for efficient digestion. Despite these successes, some experts remain skeptical about biogas becoming mainstream. Kiran Kumar Kudarvalli from SKG Sangha points out the challenges of space and cost in urban and poorer rural areas. Kiran Kumar Kudaravalli commented that in urban areas, space and smell are issues. In rural areas, people are used to free fuel from forests or agricultural land and may not want to pay for biogas. While biogas offers a promising solution for sustainable energy, its widespread adoption faces hurdles. However, with continued innovation and support, it has the potential to significantly impact India's energy landscape. In a significant show of support, United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has pledged crucial aid to Ukraine, promising it will make a real difference on the battlefield. Blinken arrived in Kiev on a surprise diplomatic visit on Tuesday, emphasizing U.S. solidarity with Ukraine. His visit comes after a military aid package worth $61 billion was finally approved in April, following delays due to political wrangling in Washington. Antony Blinken says the assistance is now on the way, some of it has already arrived and more of it will be arriving. Blinken's trip is the first by a senior U.S. official since the aid package was approved. During his meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Blinken assured that the U.S. aid would significantly bolster Ukraine's defense against Russian aggression. Zelensky highlighted the critical need for air defense systems, particularly for the northeastern city of Kharkiv, which has been under heavy Russian missile attacks. Volodymyr Zelensky also adds that civilians, warriors, everybody there under Russian missiles. We need 2 air defense batteries for Kharkiv. Blinken's visit marks his 4th trip to Ukraine since Russia's full-scale invasion began in February 2022. His last visit was in September of last year. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan stated that the U.S. is working to accelerate the delivery of weapons to Ukraine to address the delays caused by Congress. Jake Sullivan affirms that the delay put Ukraine in a hole, and we're trying to help them dig out of that hole as rapidly as possible. A new package of weapons, including artillery, air defense interceptors, and long-range ballistic missiles, is expected to be announced this week. Meanwhile, Russia continues its aggressive campaign, occupying about 18% of Ukraine. A new offensive in the Kharkiv region forced the evacuation of thousands of people last Friday. Blinken reiterated that a strong, successful, and free Ukraine is the best rebuke to Russian President Vladimir Putin, emphasizing Washington's commitment to Ukraine's military, economic, and democratic stability. In a separate update, the Biden administration has assessed that Israel has amassed enough troops on the edge of Rafah in Gaza to potentially launch a full-scale incursion in the coming days. However, senior U.S. officials remain uncertain if a final decision has been made, as this action would directly defy President Joe Biden. According to 2 senior administration officials speaking to CNN, Israel has not yet made adequate preparations for such an operation, including building infrastructure for food, hygiene, and shelter for over 1 million Gazans currently residing in Rafah. President Biden has been clear in his stance, warning that the U.S. would withhold additional arms shipments to Israel if they proceed with a major ground operation. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan reiterated this on Monday, stating that the situation has not yet escalated to that point. As the conflict enters its 8th month, U.S. officials are increasingly questioning Israel's approach. Kurt Campbell, the State Department's number 2 official, highlighted tensions between the U.S. and Israel regarding the theory of victory, suggesting a political solution is necessary rather than a total military victory. Secretary of State Antony Blinken warned of potential dire consequences if Israel moves forward with the incursion into Rafah. He cautioned that Israel might inherit an insurgency or leave a power vacuum that could be filled by chaos and possibly Hamas once again. Despite these concerns, the U.S. acknowledges that Israel has significantly degraded Hamas's capabilities. State Department spokesperson Matt Miller noted that Hamas's ability to launch large-scale attacks has been severely reduced, with many of their leaders and weapons production facilities eliminated. The presence of senior Hamas leaders in Rafah remains unclear, but the U.S. continues to assist Israel with significant intelligence efforts to track down key figures, including Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. President Biden continues to call for a temporary ceasefire and a hostage release agreement between Israel and Hamas. However, senior U.S. officials have not urged Israel to consider a permanent end to the fighting. Instead, the administration is pressing Israel to focus on post-war plans for Gaza, which has so far seen little progress. This lack of post-war planning has been a growing frustration for Biden's advisors. Israel has offered no clear views on post-war governance or security in Gaza. Blinken publicly called on Israel to engage more seriously in developing these plans, emphasizing the need for security, governance, and rebuilding strategies. The Biden administration continues to work with Arab countries and other stakeholders on post-war plans for Gaza, aiming to ensure Hamas cannot govern the Strip again. That's all for now. We will bring you more reports on these stories and more later on. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Give us your feedback on any of our reports via the comments section. Join us next time, and thank you for listening.